You know, some know us as painters, some know us as lighting designers, some know us for our lock and key tables, some know us for our fragment light. You know, there really is. You know, we have a lot of interests.
There's a minimalist and geometric and
Organic.
These are all words that start to surface around what we're doing. John and I grew up in Comac, Long Island, and we worked together a bit in the wood shop when we were kids.
I feel like we each had strengths and experience that were running parallel but separate. At that time, we were both unsure how we were going to support ourselves in the Bay Area. I was planning on moving from the East Bay to San Francisco. Joe just moved to San Francisco. So we actually had the same problem to solve. You know, we had to support this art making habit. We both had ideas about furniture and about design. Neither of us wanted to work for anyone. It was a tough time to find work.
It was about 2009.
So yeah, we just started kind of making stuff with what we had around us. We're both from the East Coast, so the material out here was unique. You know, redwood was exciting, cypress was exciting, the driftwood that washed up on the beach was all exciting. That was accessible and it was free. You know, this stuff was in the dumpsters or in salvage yards or washing up on the coastline. And so that kind of was a starting point.
I think most people look at it and they say it's heavy, it's dirty.
You can't put it on equipment. You know, there's nothing square or flat about it. So you can't put it on your table saw. You can't put it. You have to get more creative about how could this stuff exist in its irregular form and get elevated and cleaned and presented in a way that respects it for what it always was. You know, there are some who just want their furniture to disappear, and often the work that we're most interested in, it doesn't disappear. It's not meant to disappear. It's meant to be a participant in your environment and be part of your visual experience.
With the lock and key work, we're relying on the gravity and the camming of the legs to the top to give the table its stability. Once it's together, the top really holds the legs, and the legs hold the top, and they pinch each other based on the fact that they're all somewhat in a state of falling.
You know, we've been interested in this idea of furniture that breaks down flat, relies on no screws or fasteners. I think somewhat a response to like IKEA and having parts that wear and then the table gets rickety, or you lose something and you can't set it up. Just something so simple, almost like building blocks.
I mean, there's usually so many things that go into making it structural, but we thought, how can we pare it down and take it to its really purest parts, which, you know, is the legs and the top, and joining those things so that they have a permanence when they're together, and then they also have the ability to come apart very easily, and so they're holding because the legs are trying to fall and the top is trying to push them away.
You know, this angle that we use really, you know, although the table has some movement, it's not about a rickety movement or lack of structural integrity. It's just part of the design. It's never going to fail. It's not going to get weaker. It's only going to get stronger as it settles in. And you know, this stuff is very, very simple overall.
And it does. I think it does make people have a physical relationship to their table. And instead of just saying like, oh, I love the finish or the grain, it's like they understand what makes it stand as well. You know, there's a complexity in its simplicity.
You know, we can't predict where the nuts will end up on your table, but we can't say you'll get a ponderosa pine table. And you know, I think where it does benefit us and it does benefit the client, the buyer, is each piece has a level of consideration that's very much about Joe and I and the piece, the material itself, because there's so much happening here. We're such a part of every step.
What kept us excited even when there wasn't money, we were saying like, look, we have this audience that we would never have otherwise been able to attract, and we attracted them doing something we really love to do.